method first is because it leaves your hands completely clean as everything goes down and all attention comes back to the ring pull. And it's a nice little different version of the linking sort of ring thing. I don't like doing the sort of big version with the big hoops. It just doesn't fit the style I have. But again, that is pulled. Thank you. Does anyone have any questions on it? It is a relatively simple thing. The main question I get is how easy is it to break these ring pulls? The odd thing I have found is, in fact, here, let me pop this one off.
Do you have a preferred soda can or anything like that?
Let me just show you this, nice and quick. Now, with Red Bull, we can't do it, obviously, because if you come in nice and close, it has a little bull in there, right? But you do get some soda cans that are this shape but don't have the bull inside. You want to use these sort of rounded edges. Does that make sense? So the more rounded it is, the easier it is to pop. And all you're doing, I'll come, in fact, which way do I want to turn for the camera for this? That way? That'd be better. Could the camera come in close on this? On this edge, you have the circle that's connected to the can. You can see with the little split edge here. You want to pinch the other one, all right? And you're just going to pinch it just about halfway. So you can still see a little bit of light through there. And you're just going to take your thumb and push down until you feel it start to rip. No, start to rip just here. Now, as I said before, it either rips in the top corner or down at this bottom edge. It's kind of never really rips anywhere else. Once you start getting that tear, just flatten it out again, and then just start bending again, and bend back and forth until it just pops. These cola cans are a little bit tough. There we are. And it'll just pop just like that. And once you have it popping, just pull it back and flatten it into position, and your gimmick is ready to go, basically. I mean, it's nothing fancy. And again, it doesn't look too pretty, but they're not getting to see it for long enough to understand that there's anything wrong there. And at that point, the gimmick is ready. Does that cover that for you? Perfect. Again, that is pulled, and I will give these rings back. I believe this one is yours. Thank you kindly, and I believe I'm going to throw this one. There you go. That one's yours. I won't lie, that one was my own. The little gold one, I wanted to make sure I had a ring that was the right size. I know that sounds really, really innuendic, and I do apologise. Let me get rid of these cans now as well. And look at my little cheat sheet. Oh, awesome. One of my favourite routines. Now, who out of you use Gary Freed's NFW? Does anyone perform this now? This was a staple.
I remember when it came out, I demoed it all the time at the magic shop.
It's a gorgeous routine, isn't it?
Yeah.
But this is...
cool name.
How did I describe this? Here. I will just make sure I have this right. Perfect. Yeah. Just make sure
this is... I remember when it came out because it was based on an idea from Jason Alford, but it was the coolest, like, cleanest...
Yes, it was the cleanest and nicest version of it. And that's, again, I loved the thing. I genuinely loved it. And when I first got it, I remember it was like...
It's a lot of magic for just a couple cards, you know?
Yeah, see that moment where you just spread through and then you drop them down?
Yeah, when you drop them, it's
you feel like a wizard. It's like, I did that. It's awesome. I'll explain why this came about in a little second, but it's just, if you haven't used NFW, I recommend you go get it. Every magic store stocks it, and I do believe Penguin have it.
PenguinMagic.com?
Yeah, PenguinMagic.com. I really should be wearing a t-shirt, shouldn't I? But yeah, this is basically the same premise. And again, it uses the 4 jokers as they all do. Now, a lot of people will notice the count is slightly odd. The reason it's odd is because I am turning a card over each time I do it. In fact, I can be fair with the count as well. If you do it the fair way, it doesn't look as clean, all right? But if you do it a little bit quicker, you can get the next joker to go, which should leave, 1. And just grab it again, a little count, and that third one should go, the final one, right? Now, the weird thing here is I don't actually use any jokers. If you spot this, I actually use just the aces. And that is generally how NFW would look. Now, for me, I loved this thing. But the problem with NFW was you couldn't really have the cards inspected. And I found this out the hard way. I think I was about 21. And I'm in this bar, slightly tipsy, just going about doing tricks for folks. And there's this one guy. You're not one guy you want to punch. You get one every gig. Just one guy you would cuss at. He watched the trick, enjoyed it, and then he picked up every card sequentially and then just tore it apart in front of everyone. And I thought, damn it, that ruined it for me at the time. Now I still perform it because I understand the beauty of it. But at the time I had to figure out a method just to beat him, as it were. So what I came up with was a version where you can hand out the jokers at the end. You do need an extra 2 cards, which is the 2 jokers. Now with this, I use the deck as a ditch. I'll teach you a method to get by that as well if you don't have the deck on you. But your setup is simple. While everything is face up, put your ace of spades third down and just square that up. Turn it over. So your ace of spades should be the second card now. And again, your two jokers are going to go on top. Now, the reason why I like the moonshine deck here is the jokers are the match basically, they're the same. If you want to use any other deck that doesn't have that, just take a joker from each deck and put it in. So you basically get two matching ones. You can use the opposing ones, but it becomes evident what's happening to begin with. So those two cards just go on top. So from a nice quick standpoint, you have your two jokers, any random ace, then your ace of spades, then your two subsequent aces. Now the count you're going to do here is a basic 2 for 4 count. Now I am not good at this. You'll see my fingers switch, but I draw attention to it during the routine. So I will pinch in a sort of loose biddle right at the very edges. I'll peel off the one card, so it's just the one joker. Now as this hand comes back in, my thumb contacts the back edge of this ace here as it rotates in, and my middle finger here takes it as I take this whole packet. Then I come in and just square everything up and peel one off again, and then just drop this on top. So in a sort of quicker motion, it should just fly by as a sort of 2 for 4 count. Now the position this leaves you in is a joker on very bottom and a joker on very top. Alright, now at this point you need to displace one of the face down cards up to the top. So what I see is that initial count looks a little bit funny because I'm doing something sneaky in there. Oh yeah, one small thing, don't rotate your hands over because they're going to see flashes all the way through. I was teaching this to a friend and I was going through the whole thing, teaching him it. And the idiot kept turning his hand over, showing the aces during the routine before the reveal. So keep that in mind, you have to keep it face up. But at this point, all you have to do is displace that top card. So I draw attention to it and say, in fact, the reason why the count looks so funny is because I turned a card over. Now all I'm doing is pulling back, and I'm just going to push this second card forward along with the top card. So two fingers go on top of the deck, the middle finger hits the front card, your first finger hits the top card, and just push forward. Now I use my thumb at the back as a guide. Once my thumb hits the deck, I can stop. Rotate it out, do not flash the face obviously, and put it on top. Now at this point, all you have to do is an Elmsley count 3 times. Or if you don't want to remember 3 times, just Elmsley till you can't see a joker anymore. Now an Elmsley count, nice and quick. I'll just grab 4 random cards. Alex Elmsley's ghost count, or Elmsley count as it's more commonly known now, will hide this third card in the position, alright? So as you count through, you shouldn't see that. Now, in fact, that was an underground Elmsley. Let's do a proper one so you can see what I'm talking about. There we are. Don't do an underground. The final card does have to go on top. Now, what you're doing is you're going to count off the top card into your right hand. Now, I like to displace the top card slightly, just so I get a little break here. So my hand can kind of pinch there and peel off. Now, as this hand comes up to apparently count the second card, you're going to pull back with your first 2 fingers here. Now what this does is push over the top 2 cards, and it hides that face-up card in there, alright? Just like that. So as you're coming back up, you do the block push over, and this card just gets loaded underneath. I'll leave it out jog so you can see it. As you take that one, okay? And then you just count off the other 2 as normal, and it will just hide that card. Now that's the basis to what we're doing here. Even though it is a bigger stack of cards, all we are doing is the Elmsley count. And the simple case is the block push off is of 4 cards instead of 2 there, alright? So it's the exact same motion. And you're just going to do that until you see no more jokers. Now it's 3 Elmsley counts in it. This one will take you a little bit to get, but if you're fairly proficient with cards, you will be able to understand it. Now at this point you're left with the 2 jokers second from bottom and your aces in ready position. Now the reason you put your ace of spades third down is because when you flip everything over now, you're going to get hit with an ace of spades. I just like the visual of